All right, let's talk about invoicing. We have two types of jobs you've probably figured out by now. One is a cash job and one is lender finance. We're going to run it pretty much the same. However, on the lender finance, you're going to have a HUD consultant and you're going to have a couple additional forms. And we're going to do another section just on those forms because, to get you familiar with them. Of course, the HUD consultant is always there to help you. The lender is there to help you. So let's just go over what to start out with. There should be a payment schedule always in the contract, and it's going to be in a couple different places, and I can show you where those are. But it's going to be percentage of what the percentage of the total project at certain milestones. So typically what you see is on say let's just go over a cash job. The cash job is going to be 5% on signing, and then you're going to have typically 25% to 30% when there's the project handoff. So when that salesperson hands you off that project, you're going to want another 30%. 35%. And why do we want that? Well, we always want to be ahead in the jobs. We don't ever want to get behind, meaning we've paid out more money than we've collected. So on cash jobs, we always want to stay ahead. So we always want to pre-invoice and collect the money before the work's done. On the lender finance, that's going to be the opposite, but the whole process is exactly the same for both. So you're going to start with putting your payments and your invoicing in your schedule. So you're going to build those into your schedule based off of the payment schedule. You're going to build those into your schedule, and those are going to be the milestones. So what is a typical milestone? You have deposit, you have handoff, and then you typically will have like after rough inspections, or you have different spots of the job that are pretty clear cut. Rough inspections is usually always a time where we'll get 70%. The key thing though is that you've collected enough money so that the last invoice is always 5%. So why do you want that? Well, you don't ever want to be able to go through the whole project and towards the very end somebody's holding up $30 or $40 or $50,000 on a project for a punch list item, right? Because obviously there's a cash flow issue on that, but also there's a huge liability. Typically that 50,000, most of that is we want to pay our subcontractors out of that so they make them whole. They've done the work. So you want to have that collected. So if there's a discrepancy, it's only off of they're only owed 5%. And if there's a bigger, it ends up escalating, we're not going to be, we can still kind of make everybody whole and, negotiate it, and it's not so urgent. We can pay you out and everybody else. So that's the key thing. So how do you do an invoice? It's pretty easy. It's all going to be percentages. So the first thing you're going to do is, here's a project. Go on your, this project hasn't started yet, but you just jump into invoices. And here is an invoice that was sent out. And it was for the 5%. 5% deposit. So you can see we're doing 5% of every line item, which ends up equaling the 1920. And that gets sent, and the people can pay online through ACH. So we'll show you how to do a new one. So you're just going to hit new here, and it's always going to be a progress invoice from estimate. Those are going to be your normal scheduled invoices. If you're invoicing from a change order that you just got signed and you want to get that paid immediately. Now these are on cash jobs. Like I said, we're going to go and talk to you about what's different about lender finance, but it's all going to start the same. In lender finance, you're still going to issue the invoice. You're still going to do everything. It's just there's going to be a second step. There's going to be an additional on the additional change order form that's part of that you have to fill out also, and there'll be an additional kind of like an invoice that the HUD consultant fills out with all the percentages. So what are you going to do? You're going to do progress invoice if it's just a normally scheduled invoice. Right now, I can't do an invoice from a change order because there is no change orders yet. This job hasn't started. But, so let's go right into this. So what you're going to do is you're just going to, if it's scheduled, you're going to look at your payment schedule, and it might be, at project start, it's 30%, right? Or 35%. You're just going to put in 35% and just continue down all the way down, right? And to the very end. Now, what's different in the lender financed is like you are actually going to put in the true amounts of what's been done. So you're going to look and say you might say, hey, we're at 100% of the windows. Exterior doors are 100%. And these now, again, anything that's not 100%, you want to be a little bit conservative because the HUD consultant doesn't want to overpay you. So that HUD consultant is going to come in and verify that the work is done on lender finance. So you're going to want to have an invoice that's very accurate. So maybe you've done only, you think 10% of the wood trim or the interior paint, maybe, and kind of calculate it out. These guys are going to have some wiggle room, but if you say it's 80% done and it's clearly 50, they're going to push back, and then you're going to have to redo your invoice. So you want the invoice to be pretty accurate. So you're just going to go down your line and say, okay, wood floors, well, we finished the wood floors 100%, or they got to do their final coat, so let's give it 90%. And you're just going to go all the way down until you're done. And if you haven't done something, you put 0%, so and you leave it blank. And then you hit generate invoice. So now when the invoice comes up, again, you're going to want to do the number, what it is. It could be, whatever. But you want to do Butterly Kitchen, and then you want to do invoice 1, or contingency invoice 1. You always want to make sure there's a number in it, and remember, so that you can kind of we don't really have an exact how to do it, but it's always going to be the last name, the job type, and then where you are. If it's a lender finance, you're going to put draw 1, draw 2, draw 3, draw 4. If it's a you do the same thing, but you can just say invoice 1, 2, or 3. You want to always do the date here. The invoice date is the same, and it's due immediately for cash jobs, because you're going to pre-prep them that you're sending the invoice, usually a week so. You always want to let them know, and they should be on the schedule so they can see it. They know exactly, hey, I'm gonna need 40 grand next week, and they're going to get the invoice that they can pay immediately. Now, some people, you're going to see people on cash jobs, a lot of times they're not going to keep all the money in one account or 2 accounts, so they have to move money around. So you always want to give them a few days in advance. You're going to want to then go review, make sure everything is good. And then you can add some files, you can put some client notes, whatever you want. Hey, thanks, whatever. And then so here, what you want to do is we will always pay for the client fee for the ACH bank transfers. And why do we do that? Well, it ends up costing us, because it's always $15. $15 is worth all of the, getting the check from somebody. Then somebody's got to go deposit in the bank. You got to take a picture of it. You got to take a copy of it. You got to put it, attach to this invoice. Now you have all this paper trail. And then you've got to pick it up and blah, blah, blah. So we really push the client to pay ACH, and you really want to talk to the client and say, listen, you need to pay ACH. It's the best way. If somebody isn't in a pickle, okay, we are offering for them to use their credit card. Of course, and now the difference is here, as you can see here, they pay the fee. I mean, that's 3%. I mean, we're not gonna, 3% is given away to farms. So if they really want to use their credit card, then they're gonna have an additional fee. So if they ask you about it, say, listen, we take care of the ACH payments. Those are for free. If you want to use your credit card, we have to pass on the credit card fee. If it's something you want to use to get your points or whatever, then it might make sense to you. But if not, then use the ACH, and that's it. And then you're just going to issue the invoice, and it's going to go to the client, and and let them know. And that's pretty much it. Like it's I'm going to delete that out because it's obviously not correct. That's pretty much all you're going to do, and those are all the steps. The next video I'm going to show you is about the HUD consultant and what you do from once you put those invoices in and sending to the client. You're also going to want to print a couple copies, and you're going to want to send it to the HUD consultant. And then in the next video, I'm going to show you how to deal with the HUD consultant and the HUD forms, which is, if you are a project manager at Final Contracting, you will definitely see a lender finance renovation because we do a lot of them. So not that big of a deal. We like doing them. The HUD consultant will be your friend once you get to know him, and the guy can take some work off of your shoulders, even with the client. So it works out all around. All right, on to the next one.